Hi book lovers, my name is Cristina and welcome back to Cozy Novel Niche. Today I'm here with my very first review for 2023 and it's about the very first book that I read this year that just had the perfect title and that I ended up rating 5 stars. So that's the reason why I'm making the review. First things first, I don't usually rate books anymore pretty much, but I only rate them when they are 5 stars for me, like solid 5 stars. That allows me to kind of see my favorites a little bit easier among all of the other books, but otherwise I don't rate books any longer. I've not done it for the past 1 or 2 years at this point, and it's great for me. It works for me. So I only put a rating if it's a solid 5 star, and this book definitely was. I started this book last year or the year prior to that one, and I only read 40 pages and then I stopped for no reason, and I've not picked it up because it was 10,000 Doors of January, and since January was in the title, I was adamant about reading it in January. And so since it didn't work that year, I waited and finally this year I read it, and boy, I'm happy with the results. But let's go with things in a more orderly fashion. This is a fantasy standalone, so if you know me, you already know that I love that. I love fantasy standalone, so we don't have enough, in my opinion, out there. This is not a very high fantasy, so we don't have, like, I don't know, flying dragons and knights and stuff like that. So this is a book that can be loved by not a fantasy hardcore reader too. And this book is unique in so many ways. So first of all, I adored the writing, and I think that I will definitely read the next books written by Alix E. Harrow. There is Once and Future Witches that I definitely want to pick up sooner or later, and anything else that will come up from this author, I will probably give it a go because I love the way the author writes. It's beautiful, it's lyrical, but it's lyrical not in the flowery descriptions of things, but in a way that really adds to the depth of a character. It's lyrical while describing thoughts processes, and this is something that I definitely love. So it was a hit for me. If you're not for that kind of writing, maybe it won't be such a hit for you, so definitely give it a try, read a sample, and try to figure out if you love it or not. For me, it was just the perfect amount of lyrical writing and in-depth exploration of a character. Characters here are very important because we're following our main protagonist, who is January, and she is a young girl. We start with her at age 7, I believe, in the beginnings of the 20th century. And this story, we spend all of our time pretty much, no, not all of our time, half of our time, that's more precise, half of our time in the head of this girl. So it's a first-person narrator, but this is not a reason for the narration to be bland and easy as many contemporary stories or even YAs, like paranormal YAs, are. It's definitely an in-depth analysis of the mind of a character, so I loved spending my time in the mind of this girl and being inside her head, and it definitely doesn't take anything away from the story, on the contrary. So we spend our time in her head for the duration of this book, and the story starts with her at 7 years old when she discovers that she can do something very unusual, apparently. And she's a mixed-race girl who lives in this huge household owned by this rich American white man, and her father, who is a black man, works for this man, and he kind of travels around the world a lot in search for old artifacts and art pieces and whatnot, because that man is an auctionist, a seller, an archaeologist, something like that, around that realm. And that's very interesting because being in the mind of a character, you know the things, only the things that the character knows, and so you discover and unravel everything as the story goes on. But something that she discovers is that apparently she is able to open a door. So she pretty much goes to a place, sees that door, and she decides to fantasize about that door, about the fact that maybe the door would open and she would see something amazing on the other side of it. And this happens. And so we spend our time with this character who is trying to figure out if it really happened, if it was her fantasy, if something is amiss. And from that starting point, I don't want to tell you anything more, because from that point a whole story unravels. And half of the book is her story, and the other half of the book is the story told in a book that the girl finds at a certain point of her life. And there we're following the story of another girl in 1860s, 70s, around those years. And we're following her as she is described by an unknown narrator who is writing that book, who apparently is a scholar. And this book is all about a different world, a different place. It speaks about a lot of things that go quite over the head of our main protagonist. And I know that told like that, it really seems messy and it's difficult to understand it, but please give it a go. Try to reach at least page 60, 70, so that you will give the general vibe of the book and you will understand where it is going. I loved it. I loved it for so many reasons. I loved it for the characters, because I think they were really well made. We have a diverse cast of characters. We have a lot of very difficult topics treated in a way that's very understandable, and it really touches you, because since you're spending so much time with this character, you really feel for her in certain moments. So we touch the theme of being a mixed race, we touch the theme of being a black-skinned person in a predominantly white dominated United States at that moment. We deal with slavery, we deal with economical differences, we deal with privilege, we deal with the concept of societies, like those cliques of people who kind of decide the fates of others. We deal with the importance of freedom and what freedom really means to each and every one of us. We deal with the importance of imagination and so many things, all packed in this, how long was it? Almost 400 pages book, but everything is just so on point. This is a book that I actually ended up going out there and underlining. I'm searching for a part, like, for example, like this. I have a lot of pages that I actually ended up underlining, because I loved the phrasage, just the use of words that the author put in here. I loved the thought process. And if you read it, please let me know down below what were your thoughts. I know that this one was quite famous here on BookTube a couple of years ago, I believe. Then the hype, of course, kind of died out with time, so I'm a little bit late to the party, but I'm definitely here because I love this book. I loved it so much. I think that it's generally an amazing book for everyone. If you're a fantasy lover, you will for sure like something like that. If you're a reader and you're passionate about reading, you will definitely love this one. And it's a book about, it's a book with a book within it, so that's something that I definitely always love as a concept generally. And yeah, these are my general thoughts. I've not prepared this video very much, as you may see, so I'm going from the top of my head, but these are the things that I definitely loved and wanted to share with you about this book. If you read it, again, let me know down below. If you're planning to read it, or if it's on your TBR, let me know. I hope that you will pick it up sooner or later, because that book definitely deserves the attention. And this is it. I'm rambling at this point, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you very soon in my next one. And meanwhile, cozy up with a book. This can be a great book, and I will see you very soon. Bye! Ciao!